Michael Schumacher back in the race. Look for the Ferrari in the background. There is the Prost. Remember that Michael Schumacher lost an extra 6 seconds as a result of that fuel stop. This is lap 56 with Mika Häkkinen trying to improve from 4 World Championship points for third position to 6 for second.
Eddie Jordan turning away there. I think he probably knows that Häkkinen's got enough speed to at least get alongside Frentzen. They're not in the picture at the moment. They should come into view very close together, and Frentzen's got a nice line down the middle there, I have to say, and he just seems to have aced it finally in there, and Häkkinen getting a good run round the outside. I'd be surprised if he's got enough grunt to out-drag that Jordan down to Nürburgring, and in fact he hasn't.
Frentzen closes the door quite legally and quite safely. Mika Häkkinen will respect that move, and it's still Stewart leading Jordan, leading McLaren. They've both still got to come in and make another stop. Olivier Panis has got to do the same thing. He's in 4th position. There he was. Jarno Trulli is now 5th. Michael Schumacher is still in the points despite that long pit stop of his. He's in 6th position with the advantage of having had his second and final stop. But depending on the time that the others take, this race is going to be mighty close at the end. Coming up to complete lap 56 out of 72.
I tell you who's looking good, little Barrichello. He just keeps there at a sensible pace, and everybody else around him is having problems. We saw Michael with a long pit stop. If Barrichello can get a good pit stop in, he should lead this race, unless Schumacher's out there doing stunning lap times.
I'm looking for his lap time.
Yeah, he hasn't done a complete lap yet, other than his out laps from the pits. So we've got to wait another 30-40 seconds before we get a picture of Michael's actual raw speed. And here's Häkkinen with a better chance than ever. Oh, wow, getting right up underneath his gearbox. Frentzen now is trying to pinch him, and look at that. Häkkinen didn't have enough speed.
And Heinz Harald, that was magnificent. No,
he's gone deep. He's gone in too deep.
Heinz Harald Frentzen, I was just going to say that's magnificent, but Mika Häkkinen was even better. The last of the late breakers, and Mika Häkkinen takes 2nd position from Heinz Harald Frentzen with a gap of 2 seconds between him and the Stewart ahead, and there is Frentzen running wide, Häkkinen nipping through.
Yes, what happens? I mean, Frentzen has just got a whole bunch more aggressive going in there now in these last few laps, but unfortunately for him, as the downforce bleeds away, it's very easy in the wet to snatch a front brake just at the last moment, and you lose a lot of retardation and you have to run wide.
Well, Häkkinen is marginally quicker than Barrichello at the moment. We don't know if Rubens has got anything in reserve, but here they are, 1st, 2nd and 3rd. We've got to leave for a few moments. We'll make it as short as possible. Be back soon.
Welcome back. Well, what a nail-biter. AJ, this race has just got everything.
It certainly has, but very interesting now because there's still quite a few laps to go, and if you came in now and put dries, you can see we're actually getting a dry line on the circuit. One of the reasons they don't set up a Formula One car now as a wet setup is because the track does dry with these very wide tyres and the horsepower that these cars generate. It does put a dry line down very, very quickly. So it is very rare. Häkkinen's got him now. He's into the lead. Look at this. Barrichello, easy on the power. He's out-dragged him. Well done. These cars, the engineers don't set them up for the wet because the track does dry out and then you end up with a car that's set up for the wet, which is hopeless in the dry. So it's far better to drive a car which is normally set up and put up with it in the wet in the hope that when it does dry, you've got a much better set up car. But what's going to happen here, these guys have got to come in for a pit stop any minute, and it really is going to be a headache. Do we go on to wets or do we go on to dries? Because the circuit is drying out. If they go back on to wets, they're going to have very few tyres left on the car towards the end of the race, which will make it interesting as well.
And Schumacher is on wets.
Absolutely.
Oh, look at this. OK, let's go back to Murray. What a race.
That kind of situation earlier in the race, and Rubens just calmly driving around the outside, Häkkinen with the significantly faster car at this stage of the race. And, well, this race just keeps turning around all the way through.
Yeah, and watch Heinz Harald Frentzen. You'll see the yellow Jordan in a moment. He's not giving up. Behind him is Jarno Trulli, who is yet to stop. Olivier Panis is down into 7th position from 4th, but he's had his second stop. Race order now as you watch this battle. Barrichello leads Hakkinen, Frentzen 3rd, Trulli 4th, and he's in the pits. Michael Schumacher will go up to 4th position ahead of his brother, Ralf Schumacher.
Right, Hakkinen got a better drive through the middle of Estoril, and that's going to get him in front of Barrichello long before the braking area.
Lovely.
So Hakkinen takes the lead. Michael Schumacher's speed, remember he had a 13-second pit stop, didn't really come out and set the world alight with his lap times as Hakkinen defends that lead. Barrichello's still getting a nice drive out, but no way he'll get back at Hakkinen from there. And can Michael Schumacher go fast enough to make up for that slow pit stop and end up back in the lead of the race when it's all shuffled through and everybody has stopped?
Well, Heinz-Harald Frentzen was actually the fastest man on that previous lap, as Hakkinen charged up alongside Barrichello.
Yes, I think these two slowed each other up a little bit as they had to wait, and it would be very easy to lock a wheel here and just run into the other car. So Hakkinen quite cautious from this point on. He's got the corner, and then he actually is very, very cautious. Probably a bit nervous of that white line again where he spun. He goes round the outside of it, and Barrichello says, well, I'll have a go. But he hasn't got enough speed or advantage to get ahead down into Nürburgring chicane. And this is Michael Schumacher, currently running 5th, but he has already pitted.
Yes, and he's only 5.7 seconds behind Mika Hakkinen, in spite of the fact that his pit stop was 6 seconds longer than his teammate Eddie Irvine, who is now down in 8th position. As we ride with Frentzen, look ahead and you'll see Barrichello's car ahead of him. You can see Mika Hakkinen's car. We're with the 3rd placed Jordan of Heinz-Harald Frentzen, well and truly in the points again. And off goes De La Rosa in the arrows, and he is down in 11th position. Well, as he kept his engine running, it's very difficult. This is what happened. Frentzen came up alongside him.
Oh, look, that's a problem for Frentzen. He can't get the thing to change down. Look, he's stuck in a higher gear, and now he's got it on the cam and he's away. But has he got any gears? Yes, it's shifting up okay, but he's gone up the inside, look, and ended up with a box full of neutrals.
Look at De La Rosa's wing, front wing.
Yeah, I think De La Rosa, we saw him going off through the gravel, didn't we, and having that spin as a replay. And then we've cut to this, which is Frentzen with no apparent, I think he kept dipping the clutch, and it was in too long a gear. So no downshift there for the Jordan, but it appears to be okay now.
Well, he's still on 4 World Championship points. He's still in 3rd position. We're on lap 61 out of 72. Mika Hakkinen in the lead, 2.7 seconds ahead of Rubens Barrichello. Heinz-Harald Frentzen seems to me as though he's still got a problem.
No, it's changing okay now. It's doing all the normal things now. I think it's just so slow because there's so little grip, but that arrows is not doing him too many favours. But the arrows goes in the pits, so that solves that problem in a hurry. And Frentzen appears to live for another day.
Well, into the pits comes Pedro de la Rosa, and Heinz-Harald Frentzen is still in a podium position.
Hakkinen 2 seconds faster than Michael Schumacher on that last lap. So Hakkinen, all of a sudden, from slipping way back, now looks like the man.
Yeah, what he's doing, of course, is to go as quickly as he possibly can to try to build the gap for when he comes into the pits, because this pit stop is going to be absolutely crucial. The first 3 have yet to stop the second time. Hakkinen, Barrichello and Frentzen. Michael Schumacher is in 4th position. He's now 14 seconds behind Hakkinen. But it's going to be mighty, mighty close, because remember, as I've said before, it's not just the 7 seconds or so that you're stationary as Zonta comes into the pits from 9th position. It is the time you take slowing down and then accelerating out, and it's quite a slow entry to the pits.
What have they put on that? Have they put? They look like they put slicks on that car, have they? Yes, they have. They've just put the groove slicks. But interesting to see how long he stays on the road. We'll have a look in a minute. But the Ferrari and McLaren teams will be watching that. I was a bit of a long distance away.
There's Schumacher,
I still think
and he's ahead of the Prost, and he's closing on Michael Schumacher, his brother, in the Williams. He's only 6 seconds behind him.
Now, hang on, Murray. That's Irvine scrapping with Panis. He has just passed Panis. So Irvine back on a roll again in 7th place, out of the points at the moment.
Yeah, and so Eddie Irvine is battling for that 6th and last World Championship point. 1 World Championship point with Olivier Panis trying to resist him, and I don't think he will. Eddie Irvine in the extremely powerful Ferrari. Mika Häkkinen leads. When is he coming in? Is he coming in? Yes, he must be coming in.
I don't think he's round the other side of the circuit, but I don't think we're going to see them having to pit, the leaders having to pit for slicks. I